singing our song all day long at Hogwarts.
Harry Potter is one of the most popular and successful fiction series of all time, but with such a long list of books and films, it's no surprise that some dark theories have surfaced about the endearing Wizarding world. We're going to be counting down the top 10 dark Harry Potter film theories. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video, where I'll be responding to some of your comments. Let's jump in. Coming in at number 10, Dementors represent Rowling's battle with depression. This perhaps is the darkest number on our entire list, but also perhaps the most interesting. As we know, J.K. Rowling is an incredibly successful businesswoman who has created the world's favourite Wizarding world, and she did it all to escape an unhealthy marriage. Yeah, now Rowling has been incredibly outspoken about her personal feelings being interwoven into her stories over the years. However, she also stated previously that she was suffering from depression while writing the books, and she included a lot of the darkness she was facing in the Harry Potter books, specifically the Dementors. The Dementors are horrifying entities, pure cold, that feed off the happy thoughts and memories of others. In a previous interview, when asked if depression was the inspiration behind the Dementors, Rowling stated, "Yes, that is exactly what they are. It was entirely conscious and entirely from my own experiences. Depression is the most unpleasant thing I've ever experienced. It is the absence of being able to envisage that you will be ever cheerful again. The absence of hope." Dark. Coming in at number 9, Hagrid is sterile. Say it ain't so. Hagrid is a fan favourite character, of course, and this theory implies that he was never able to have children. So it was slightly heartbreaking when a character who devotes their entire life to children can't bear any of their own. So what's the evidence for this theory? Hagrid is a half giant, as we know, and potentially can't reproduce. There is no hard evidence supporting this case, but yet it does make a lot of sense. Hagrid is a wholesome family man who yet doesn't have a family. He takes care of Harry, Hermione and Ron during their adventures at Hogwarts and seems like a guy that would be more than happy to settle down. Perhaps that's all he wants, but he just can't reproduce. Sad. Coming in at number 8, Harry's love for Ginny was caused by a potion. Before we even get into this theory, I can't help but love this one already. I was never a Ginny-Harry shipper. I mean, come on, he clearly loved Hermione. Even Ron. Show me the chemistry Harry and Ginny shared. It's not there. It never existed. Anyway, as we know, there are an abundance of talented witches and wizards in the world of Harry Potter. Talented witches and wizards who know how to brew up a strong love potion, as we saw in both the films and the books. This theory goes that Harry never showed much affection towards Ginny. Preach. But Ginny seemed to always admire Harry, a great deal, to the point that she conjured up a love potion for Harry, resulting in their marriage and eventual children. Nutter. Coming in at number 7, Voldemort's BOGGART would be his corpse. We have another dark one here. I mean, this entire list is pretty dark. Harry Potter in general is pretty dark. As we know, Voldemort is a character that seemingly fears nothing. He murders innocents without even an ounce of guilt or hesitation. He betrays his friends and forms no bonds. But according to the author herself, J.K. Rowling, the one thing Voldemort does fear is death. In a previous interview, Rowling was asked about Voldemort's BOGGART, to which she responded with, "Voldemort's fear is death. Ignominious death. I mean, he regards death itself as ignominious. He thinks that it's a shameful human weakness. As you know, his worst fear is death. But how would a BOGGART show that? I'm not too sure. I did think about that because I knew you were going to ask me that." Smart lady. Coming in at number 6, Draco Malfoy is a werewolf. Now, I would be into this. Malfoy had a strong redemptive arc throughout the Harry Potter series, from evil daddy's boy to standing by Harry Potter's side at the end of it all. So sweet. Now imagine that during this time Malfoy was a werewolf. Yeah, so bloody cool. As we know, Animagi and werewolf exist within the world of Harry Potter, so Malfoy being a werewolf wouldn't exactly be all that shocking. There are many fans out there who suggest there is actually significant evidence supporting this theory, the evidence mostly occurring in the 6th and 7th books. The crux of the theory is that Fenrir Greyback bites Draco when Lucius fails to retrieve the prophecy for Lord Voldemort. Considering Greyback also bit Remus Lupin is quite the interesting theory. Another piece of evidence is that Voldemort says to Draco, "Maybe you can babysit the cubs," when referencing Remus and Tonks' children. I'm into it. Coming in at number 5, Voldemort is unable to love. Aw, no. Voldemort, as we know, is a detached human who is cold, calculated, and ready to murder at the drop of a hat. But perhaps there is reasoning behind his lack of emotion is because he was born of fake love. Yep. Rowling has previously stated that Voldemort was conceived by the influence of amortentia, a love potion, which means he was born of fake love, rendering him unable to love because of this. In turn, Voldemort's thirst for power and desire to commit murderous acts was down to his own birth. He was doomed from the very beginning. Coming in at number 4, King George and George Weasley. Now this is less of a theory and more of a small piece of trivia that seems too strong to merely be a coincidence. Originating on Tumblr, this theory goes as follows, I quote, "All the Weasleys' names except for Ron are either the names of a British king or queen or an Arthurian name. King George III was deaf in one ear and he became king because of the untimely death of Prince Frederick." This is chilling. Both Georges suffer from an ear problem, both Freds meet a grisly end. What do you guys think? Coincidence or intentional piece of trivia? Coming in at number 3, the three brothers. This theory goes that Harry, Snape and Voldemort are the modern representation of the siblings from the tales of the three brothers. Into it. As we know, Harry is a descendant of Ignotus Peverell, and Voldemort is a descendant of Cadmus Peverell, so it's not too much of a stretch to believe that Snape could also be a descendant of one of the brothers. Not only that, but Snape died for a lost love, Voldemort died for power, and Harry greeted death like an old friend, thus making this theory more legitimate. Coming in at number 2, Hogwarts is an insane asylum. This theory took flight relatively recently, stating that while Harry sat in front of the mirror of Erised, he went completely mad, forcing him to view Hogwarts from a mentally unstable point of view, as a misconfigured asylum. Moving stairs, blood-drenched walls, talking paintings, these things are all imaginary, and Harry is instead being placed there to deal with the death of his parents. Not only that, but the theory goes on to suggest that Harry actually murdered Cedric, as he was the only one to witness his death, and no one quite believes him when he suggested it was Voldemort. On top of that, during an exchange between Harry and Dumbledore, Harry says, "Tell me one thing. Is this real, or has this been happening inside of my head?" Ooh, what do you guys think? Coming in at number 1, Dumbledore is death. Now this theory suggests that Dumbledore is the personification of death, and apparently there is a ton of evidence to support it. To begin, Dumbledore is the one to give the invisibility cloak to Harry in the first book. He is also the one to give the resurrection stone to Harry by hiding it in the snitch. Not only that, but Dumbledore indirectly delivers the Elder One to Harry after he defeats Draco Malfoy in a duel. And the final piece of evidence is that Dumbledore is behind/involved in both the death of Snape and Voldemort. He is deaf. Well, there we have it. What do you guys think of these theories? Were any that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos, top 10 dark film theories that change everything. Trisha Vlog said, "Lucy, you remind me of Billy." I don't know why. Trisha, who is Billy? Do I know Billy? Why do I look like Billy? Is Billy a girl or a boy? Tell me. Eloise Williams said, "Love this video and some interesting theories. Plus, you're such a funny host." Oh shucks, thank you. Can't wait for you to watch this one. Ultraviolence TV said, "You ruined Harry Potter." You're welcome. If you hadn't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another Beyond the Screen vid. And until next time, see you later.